Hello and welcome back to This or That with Kobe and Dash. It is playoffs, baby.
Yes, the postseason is here, Kobe.
And we've expanded, so now 8 teams are in playoffs, so it's almost everybody's in.
Almost. We're very
bottom.
inclusive. We're very inclusive here at the LCS
yes.
when it comes to the postseason. A couple will be eliminated quite quickly, though.
Yeah, everybody gets a chance. Not all chances are equal. Let's get into slide number 1. Not all the slides are going to be equal either. Who will win TSM or Golden Guardians straight off the bat?
This is one of the tougher ones. I'm going to go with TSM, though. I think the consistency of some of those veteran players across the best-of-5 series it just carries too much weight for me. I look at Doublelift and I look at Bjergsen, and I think if those two guys are leading my squad through best-of-5 against a younger slate of people, they have a better shot.
And specifically Bjergsen, for me, just tips it over the edge here because he has been consistently good for TSM. This is one of the easier ones. You know, they are expected to win coming in a little bit higher rated. But Golden Guardians have been looking so much better. This split, everybody's hopes were up. They're like, oh, it's going to be the best record ever. They still ended 9-9, but really close to.
What's funny is I think Golden Guardians could beat EG or FlyQuest, but they're just not paired against them. I think TSM's a tougher matchup for them.
Yeah. All right, next slide. There we go. EG and FlyQuest, James. How do you feel now? For me, right off the bat, lightning round, I would go with FlyQuest.
Same.
Evil Geniuses have been really kind of rough since they made their Huni switch. They've been trying to figure out what to do. Do we bring back Jizuke? Kumo go back in? He kind of was doing okay. And it really seems to be hurting them, especially their champ select. I am really, really skeptical of EG's ability in a best of 5. Not to get figured out, not to have bans start to build up on them.
Now, there's a wild world where the whole Jizuke experiment ends up aiding them in a best of 5. If things go horribly awry, you do have the opportunity to sub Kumo and Jizuke back in and get a whole different slate of picks. I think that would maybe be the one argument for Evil Geniuses, is that they can go, with GP top and an Orianna mid with Golden Glue, and then they can totally swap and go LeBlanc mid and go Maokai top for Kumo or something like that. But I'm with you. At the end of the day, FlyQuest is showing a resurgence akin to what we saw in spring with Wild Turtle back in the lineup. So I'm forgiving a few of the losses that FlyQuest took when MASH was in the lineup. So I'm going with FlyQuest as well.
Yeah, I really think like Santorin, Solo, they have all underrated guys on their team that are performing really
Santorin,
well
best
too.
jungler in the league. I voted for him.
All right, next slide. Ban 1, Yone or Yasuo. I'm banning Yone right now. I think he's so good. It feels like he has a lot more offensive power. He doesn't have the win wall, so doesn't have quite as much defense as Yasuo, but his playmaking ability, if you have a good player with Yone, he's still so recently released and he's already finding success.
So you gave the exact reasoning for why I'm going to pick Yasuo instead of Yone. I appreciate the defensiveness of Yasuo and the frustrating elements of playing against that champion. I think as well as the fact that since he's been around for so long, I have this image of Yasuo players in my head. And I haven't built that for Yone players quite yet. Like, they haven't gotten
there's no 5-year mastery Yone player yet.
Right. So I'm not that pissed off when I see a Yasuo that gets 3 kills early, Like, when I see that, I'm like, the game's over, like, wrap it up, FF15. With Yone, I'm not there yet. So, you know what? Keep playing Yone, people. Figure him out.
Okay. Next slide. Scarier lower bracket team. 100 Thieves.
This is really tough.
Or Dignitas, because it's kind of scary too, because Dignitas seems like one of the two-faced teams where you're like, oh wow, they actually are super scared, they'd be all proactive and go for all these kills, or oh, they're actually not doing anything. Like, could that Dignitas just pop back up? Is that gonna happen in playoffs?
Do nothing Dignitas for 3 games in a row. Yeah, not very scary. But a Dardoch who's breaking out Lilia and popping off, like, that is a scary element. And so I'm going to say the scarier lower bracket team is Dignitas, because I think people might underestimate them, number 1, and that's a part of making them scarier. Number 2, they've won 5 out of their last 10 games. That includes their tiebreaker game, but their second half of the split rivaled that of a number of teams that are above them in the standings. Whereas 100 Thieves, There's that honeymoon period of taking down Cloud9, but we saw more teams beat Cloud9 after that, and 100 has been waffling ever since. So
Yeah.
I don't see that same upward trajectory and upside. I guess I don't see the ceiling for 100, where I do see more room to go for Dig.
So 100 Thieves, they did recreate their win against Cloud9, and it was in the form of offensive jungler for contracts invading. It was in Italy this time around, but the key components, Ryoma on Galio, and then someday on something split pushing, he used Camille, the Camille Galio combination. Like, oh my god, that is scary. That's the scary thing from 100 Thieves, but that seems a lot more difficult to pull off. Then I look at Dignitas and I'm like, what's the scary thing there? It's the actual bottom lane, the players.
Yeah.
Johnson has been playing so well. Aframu seems like he's completely back in form. So I am also going to have to go with Dignitas. It's a more recency bias thing.
Yeah.
But honestly, recency bias,
it matters.
It's kind of important. There's a reason that it exists. We're coming up very quickly on the playoffs. These teams did not have very long to practice on the new patch, so you got to go with what's recent.
Yeah, 3 days. So we're both aligned. Dig is a scarier team.
More pressured at 30 minutes. Down 5,000 gold, but better scaling, or up 3,000 gold with terrible scaling. To me, I feel more pressured in the early game composition that is up 3,000 gold. So I'm like, oh my god, we gotta finish the game before Kassadin gets to level 16. Nobody mess up. I'm looking around. Nobody, you die, I'm getting pissed. But if I'm the 5,000 down gold team that has better scaling, I honestly feel more defeated, and I'm like, well, maybe we can win later. Scale for late, and it doesn't feel as much pressure. It's more like relief if you get there.
I'm with you in solo queue, 100%. So in my own games, I am way more pressured if we're only up 3K and we have terrible scaling, because people are going to make mistakes.
Somebody's going to mess up.
Somebody messes up and delays the game. And so when you're in solo queue and I can't rely on my teammates, I'm scared at that point. But if we talk pro meta, I think there's more pressure being down with the scaling options, because a team that's up 5K gold, a pro team up 5K gold, should be able to navigate to victory. They should have the communication to end it. So I feel like there's more pressure on the defensive team then to actually wait it out. So it depends on what environment we're looking at. But in my own personal game,
I'm for sure going that.
Okay.
All right. Next slide. Let's see what we get. Better late season roster move. Bringing back Wild Turtle, FlyQuest, it seemed to have righted most of the.
Easy.
They're on a 5-game win streak with that.
Yeah, no, but that was screw that. We don't give teams credit for making terrible moves and then taking them back, right? Like, what? You don't get credit for answering wrong and then coming back and being like, oh, now I know what the right answer is.
You set your door on fire, and then you're like, oh, I call the fire department. Look, they solved the problem. Isn't that smart? You're the one who created.
That doesn't work. You created this problem. So 100% the better late season roster move was bringing in Treats. This guy is popping off, and as a rookie, I absolutely love the confidence they had in making this move for a young guy and allowing him the number of games, because he's played now almost 8 to 10 games, somewhere in that range, if my memory serves me. So he's been out there for a while. Yeah, FlyQuest, please.
Honestly, you got me right off the bat with the creating your own problem deal. I'm going with Treats too. Next slide. What do we got? Macro call. Take one, give up the other. Ooh. Secure Cloud Soul or Second Baron. Honestly, you could be like, oh, well, let me see the team comps, but I don't even have to see the team comps. I don't care. Second Baron every time for me. That thing is so powerful. That is how you end games. Super, super crazy pushing power. I play a lot of champions that benefit from Cloud Soul. I play Hecarim, I play Olaf, that style of stuff, and even I would say Second Baron.
Hecarim is one of my boys, and so that was what was giving me some pause, but I'm with you. It's Second Baron. My question to you, Kobe, is there a soul that would make you choose the soul? Like, would you choose Ocean over Second Baron? Because I might choose Ocean Soul over Second Baron. That soul is OP.
Ocean and Infernal definitely making it interesting here.
Yeah, honestly, but for this one, it's Baron 100%.
Yeah. Okay, next slide. Bigger forfeit at 15 feeling. Flashing while typing level 1. This actually happened to me a couple weeks ago. And my mind was just blown that this is 2020. People have been playing League of Legends for 10 years, and someone got it. Anyways, Blitzcrank stealing your first blue buff. That one for me as a jungler. That's definitely tilting. That one doesn't happen at all anymore, because if there's a Blitzcrank on the enemy team, then I prepare for it. And you should always have your team do the level 1 defensive wards, pixel brush in the rivers in solo queue. It will save you from so much cheese.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I would say if the opponent saw me flash at level 1, then that's a bigger FF feeling, because then they know to take advantage of it. But if it's in Fountain, it doesn't actually bother me that much. I mean, I don't get how people do it either. I hear you. I'm with you on that. We've been playing this game for a long time. Get your hands off the D key. But I would say in a game, if my buff does get stolen, it doesn't happen often, but if I'm doing my blue buff and it gets stolen out from under me at level 1 and I feel like I just wasted a minute, that is a bigger FF feeling. I feel like I'm so far behind that I'll never catch up in the jungle.
The timing discrepancy on these is huge too, because moving your buff over the wall is only like like 5 seconds for it to walk back, but the flash
5
is
minutes.
for 5 minutes. Yeah, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, if the opponent knows, for sure the flash is scarier. Let's move on.
I mean, so the one that happened to me, my teammate said he didn't actually fall for the bait. It was that he was trying to type out a toxic message to the opponent team, and he forgot to hit enter first. I was like, what? So it was an attempted flame, and you failed the flame so bad that you...
I've done the thing where I go from playing a game on WASD, and literally log out of that game, swap over to League of Legends, and I have tried to move my character with WASD and blown all my stuns before. So I will admit to that.
That's gonna do it for this episode of This or That. Tune in for the playoffs. We start early this week. Thursday action will begin, so be there.